Coming to you live from my apartment, it's Rob Has a Podcast, and now here's a guy who is hoping to get a little bit more of that big hog energy tonight. I am Rob Cesternino. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Wednesday night Big Brother recap. We have got a fantastic show for you to talk about. Cliff and the decision not to use or not to backstab Christie, to have Christie not use her power. Bella is on the block. Jackson is safe, and a man to help us break it all down. I said on Twitter, many people have compared this season to getting a root canal. We have the expert. Please welcome one of my favorites. Here is the great rock star dentist, Mr. Johnny Mac. Johnny Mac, how are you?
I'm doing all right, Rob. Doing all right. I'm just I'm going through a rough time in my life right now, and this episode kind of reminded me of it.
Oh no, what's wrong?
I don't know. It's really dark times. So recently, I've been shopping for personal watercraft, and it's really it's hard.
Yeah.
It's not as easy as people think. You know, you got different brands. You got Sea-Doo, you got Wave Runner, you got Jet Ski. And then when you figure that out, you're like, well, what color do I want? And I know, like, I want the blue one, but the orange one looks really cool too. So it's a tough decision. I know what you're going to say. You're like, just buy them both. And I'm like, yeah, duh. But then I'm like, what if I want to ride one over the other? It's just kicking the can down the road. I can't ride both of them at the same time. That would be ridiculous.
Well, I think the real question is which one allows you to take your clothes off more easily while sitting on it and like keeping it going. You know, I feel like that is the real question for tonight.
Yeah, while keeping it going and smashing into a dock.
Exactly.
All right. And then the woman you just heard who's with us, she just got done trading notes for 3.5 hours with Officer Derek Levasseur. Please welcome Melissa Deni. Melissa, how are you?
I'm doing great. That was a very, very fun roundtable. If you haven't already listened to it, go check it out and watch the video because it's pretty fun. But yeah, I'm very excited to talk about this episode. I feel like, I mean, we are blessed with the presence of someone who's great in the DR, kind of a loud DR person, and also Rob, who does an amazing Sam impression. I feel like I need to be yelling and talking very loudly and animatedly right now.
Yes. Is being a loud diary room person, is that a male only thing? Are there any loud women in the Big Brother diary room? Rachel?
Maybe
Rachel. Rachel
and
Riley.
Even then, it wasn't really super loud. It was just like, I'm just going to talk like this.
Yeah.
Like, Brennan.
Okay, maybe the chat has somebody. Okay, and Johnny Mac will tell us about the finer points of how to do it in the diary room, and we'll see if Sam is doing a good job or a bad job. A lot to talk about here with Johnny Mac tonight, so get your questions in for Johnny Mac about everything going on, about Johnny Mac himself, watercraft, whatever, hashtag RHAP. We'll take those before we even get to the spoilers. So, Scott, make sure we get the Johnny Mac questions before we get to anything too much from the spoilers. But it's Wednesday night. You can hang out here, and you already know who the nominees are going to be. Find out what's going on and get a preview of Thursday. Okay.
Yeah, there is not much that you don't already know. Basically, everything is covered at this.
Johnny Mac. So besides the watercraft, everything is going okay?
Yeah. Besides that, everything's going swimmingly.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Well, I'm so happy that you're here. I'm so excited to get to catch up with you and talk about this this was an inflection point, it feels like. And while I've been optimistic all week and I've said, well, you know, what could he do? And at least he's in a good position. Just seeing all those grateful people like Christie celebrating, partying in the diary room, like, are you kidding me? This is great. It's like,
can they yell like "This is great" with when every time their alliance gets a micro victory there?
Yeah. Well, this
That
was
should
a major victory where that's, if you hadn't been following the live feed spoilers, if you're just jumping in tonight, really, that just to give you the sense of the week, that by Saturday morning there was a lot of talk about, okay, what's going to happen with the veto, and then it was Jackson won the veto, and then there was a lot of anticipation on by Sunday morning that maybe Cliff was going to really backstab Christie, but by Sunday night that had basically been proven to not be the case. And then there's been 3 days of hand wringing to get to this point of Cliff is giving the other side what they want. Then we had Derek calling in to all the different shows saying, how does he not even get Christie to use her power or come up with some third option of putting Kat up on the block? But no, it's exactly what the other side wants, and Christie doesn't have to use her power. Johnny Mac, is this an unmitigated disaster?
Yeah, this seems like crazy, like a tornado of events, like all week. I do think it worked out for him. Luckily, this time, like this house seems to be just like volatile enough that, yeah, maybe he might be able to shrink into the background after this HOH. And because it seems like each side, now that the big team is starting to split apart, they have bigger fish to fry than Cliff right now. It would have been nicer, though, if he thought about possibly getting rid of a smaller target than himself, because that's ultimately what's going to bite you, especially if you're in this situation, you're focused on like big alliance, small alliance. It's going to really like blind you. You have to focus on like, if I'm next to this person on the block, am I going to go? If I'm next to this person on the block, am I going to go? And Bella, it just seems like everyone still wants to get her out. As long as she's not coming after you, then maybe it's better to leave her in there and put someone else up that maybe everyone also wants to get out. Like they're not a part of that main group, but you would go home over them, especially if they've expressed that they don't really want to work with you, like Kat or Jessica.
So, Johnny Mac, if you were in Cliff's position and you were in this tough circumstances, that my heart goes out to Cliff because this was a stressful spot to be in. But if you had this decision to make, what would you have done?
Okay, so if Christie came to me saying, I'm not sure if this all happened at like once or over a couple of conversations, but if she basically laid out like, look, if you make these nominations or you make this other nomination or you're going to make this nomination after the veto that I don't like, I'm going to use my power. And then it came to the point where like, all right, you can keep your power, but I would at least make a nomination that I want to make and just hash it out with her. Like, let's make you're in the power position. I've never been in HOH.
Yeah.
So I don't, but
rarely in the power position.
I have made it farther than a lot of HOHs,
yes.
though. An overwhelming majority of them.
Yes.
So I would say if I were ever in an HOH position, I would try to get some kind of my own move in there, like tell Christie no, like on this one little thing, like I'd rather put up someone else from outside of your alliance. You can go after Bella on your own time.
Yeah. No, I think you make a really good point that I didn't really think about is that like, there are other options than just being like, okay, either you use your power and you get Bella on the block or you don't use your power and I'll put up on the block who you want. Like, I feel like there are other options to that. Even if you're like, hey, don't use your power, I'll put someone on the block. I feel like Cliff could have talked to Christie and been like, and made some sort of deal with her that benefited him a little bit. Even just saying like, look, like pick a few people that you want to keep safe. And I promise you, I will not put them on the block this week, like as a backdoor target, whoever you want. If it's you and Tommy and like Sis or something like that, that's fine. But then I'm going to put someone else. And even if she won't agree to that, you're right. And putting someone up like Kat, like sure, Kat's not necessarily part of the main alliance and she is technically someone who could be a number on your side. But right now, she's not giving any indications that she wants to be a number on your side. So if she's not going to work with you, then she's working against you. And so you might as well put up someone like that rather than the target of the alliance that you're not in. Like if the whole alliance is targeting someone, then you should not be targeting them too. You should be like acting or using them as a shield and like hiding behind them. Yeah. So, I don't know.
Melissa,
you have to be small eventually anyway, so it really doesn't matter what order they go in, So it's something that you do get caught up on the side versus side mentality when you're in there. It's really hard to step back. And for me, in my season, it was getting evicted and thinking about it. Go back in there and go after someone who wasn't really helping me out, but is definitely a way smaller target than me, and get them out of there so that if for whatever the scenario never happens where you're sitting on the block next to them.
Yeah, you
and some.
Oh, go ahead, Melissa.
I was just gonna say, and somebody like Kat, who has basically been the block in making any sort of move against the big alliance, because Kat doesn't want to vote against whoever it is in the big alliance. She thinks of herself as part of the big alliance. So she's not helping you by staying in the game. In fact, she's hurting you. So you might as well just get rid of her. I mean, just cut your losses and get rid of someone. But Bella, on the other hand, is actually willing to work with you and is talking with you like she's working with you. Sure, Kat's saying that she's willing to work with Cliff, but like she's not willing to vote with him. So what does it mean to be working with someone and not voting with this person?
Yeah. Johnny Mac, you and Cliff have something in common. You guys were both voted out of the game and then immediately won your way back into the house. How does that change your view of everything that's going on where you end up leaving but not leaving?
You're like, so before you get evicted, walking out that door just feels like you're fearing death almost. Mm-hmm. It's so weird, but it's like you had these people in your life for a while, and then all of a sudden they walk through that door on a Thursday night, and then they're gone. You never see them again. It's like someone died. So you're like, I walk out there, that's bad. And then when you do it, you're like, it really wasn't that bad. So when you go back in, you're like, all right, well, now I have... You play a little looser, maybe, for poker terminology, but doesn't seem like Cliff's doing that. He's actually
seems scared. Well, he was, yeah. We saw in the beginning of the episode when he made his nominations. Yeah, he did. He talked about how that he had that big hog energy going on.
I guess it comes down to me. Big hog energy.
That pig sound was like, it startled me because of how gross it was. I thought Cliff was making that noise at first. And I was like, I do not remember that from the feeds. And then I was like, oh, it's just stupid.
Yeah. And then also Cliff told us this about his... I
haven't taken my clothes off this fast since a late night game of strip poker before the wife. Or she was my girlfriend at the time. Yeah. Love you, Sharon.
But
Johnny Mac,
does that mean he was...
I don't know. We don't know. We won't explore that. But Johnny Mac, based on the way that this all played out, I have a good suspicion that Cliff Hogg was completely naked not too long into that strip poker game, and everybody else had their clothes on.
Yeah, he might have busted really quick there. They're doing crazy things with Cliff is like the innuendo guy this season.
Yeah.
Which like combined with all the stuff that's been going on the live feeds and all the hookups, like the Big Brother's like more hookup-y than Love Island. Mm-hmm. I feel like the alliance names don't match up. Like they could have had way more appropriate alliance names.
Like what?
Mating season,
or yeah,
or like sexual innuendos, and then you could have like with all the confusion, you'll have like Cliff in the middle, like I don't know if I'm the 6 or the 9 in this situation.
And that if Sam ever discovers that he's the ninth person in the alliance, he's like, I'm 9. I'm like, no, flip it around. You're 6. You're 6. You were 6 the whole time. I'm 9. You're 6. Like, oh
God.
I was 9. Yeah.
All right. I'll go there. I'll go over there.
Yeah, that's a good point. That is a good point. Johnny Mac, when you came out of the house, did you interview with Julie also?
Yeah, twice.
Okay, the first time. Cliff didn't get an interview with Julie. He had to go right into the competition.
Yeah, they must not have had enough time to like get this comp well, wait, let me see. None of them got, well, the 3 got the interview because they were out.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he doesn't know what it's like, I guess. Maybe that's the factor. Maybe Julie just like bestows aggression on something.
Melissa, tell me if this was maybe just sort of a show creation, but it seemed like that we saw Christie fighting with Jackson about like he was like demanding how the power was going to play out. And then we saw Christie complaining about Jackson to Cliff. Do you feel like that Cliff thought like, hey, this is the place where I found the fault line between the 6, and Christie and Tommy will use me and we'll go after Jackson because that she'll see I'm a reasonable person, Jackson's an unreasonable person, and we're going to split up the 6 this way?
I think so. I mean, that is basically the case anyway, because probably the weakest connection with Christie is Jackson. She does not like Jackson right now. I mean, she said that about everybody, so who knows what she really thinks. But at this point, people are upset with Jackson. They're not super happy with him. And also, Christie stated before talking with everyone that she did not want, the more that these men pushed her to use this power, the more annoyed with them she'd be and the more reluctant she'd be to actually help them by using this power. And she was kind of like, well, let's just see how this goes. And then, of course, Jackson is very forceful with her. You need to use the power. You need to use it. Just use it. And she didn't like that. That wasn't something she liked. I mean, obviously it didn't matter because she used it, but that is a tenuous connection right there between Christie and Jackson. And I do feel like, this is my opinion, but I do feel like if somebody is going to be kind of dropped out of the 6, it's going to be Jackson, because not only is he already annoying to people or frustrating to people with his personality generally, but now he's on slop and he's a billion times worse. So people in that alliance aren't super happy with him.
Johnny Mac, could this work out for Cliff? Could you give us the scenario where this potentially does work?
I think it is going to work out just because the house he's in this season, the big alliance is crumbling. Like if that big alliance was solid, then he's probably done in a few weeks. But with how quickly this is falling apart here, I think he just has a good chance to just fade back into the background.
But do you really think it's falling apart? Because I kind of think it's fool's gold. I think that they're going to get back together.
I feel like Christie's really threatened by Jackson there.
Yeah.
At least in the diary rooms where she could finally let everything out there instead of just like having to save face with who she's letting it out to. Can't sometimes give the real story. Although I hear she does it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But at least in the diary rooms, it seems like she's like really had enough. I could tell those kinds of frustrations, they add up eventually. They don't just go away.
So
yeah,
you don't get to leave this person until you either win or you're out.
This alliance is not a solid alliance. However, the people in the alliance seem to break apart and come back together and break apart and come back together. So I don't know if these like fault lines in the alliance are actual fault lines and they will actually break up, or if it's one of those things where it's just like the people in there are all pretty volatile and pretty emotional all the time. So it's like, are they actually mad enough or upset enough with each other that they're just like over it, I want to form a new alliance, or they're just like saying that they hate each other and they're mad at each other but they're still going to work together. It's hard to tell.
So Johnny Mac, there have been some people making comparisons between Christie and Vanessa Russo. Do you see that at all as a person who was at times a hyper frenetic personality in the house?
Absolutely. Yeah. She's totally emotional and is using her emotions to manipulate people and is completely unaware that she's doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not completely, but I feel like the emotional responses aren't fake. It's just her like she's a loose cannon, and then they happen to work in her favor.
Yeah.
You know?
But I feel like what makes Vanessa a more dangerous player than Christie is that Vanessa had that, but then she also had, because of her poker background, like the math and logic also part of her brain. And so she was able to go into that gear, but then also had the gear to be able to, you know, figure out the numbers, where I'm not sure if Christie has that gear.
Well, Christie can just manifest things.
Yeah, she can manifest things. Yeah.
She has that part.
When you manifest, that's it. It's over.
I do feel like Christie's emotionality, while it's a little much, I do feel like it helps her a lot in the game, because I do think that it helps her appear genuine to people, and it helps her, you know, when she's talking to someone and she starts crying, saying like, no, I feel so terrible about this. Like, I want to work with you or whatever. You believe it, because you're like, well, how could she get so emotional that she's crying and not really mean it? So, you know, I do think that is actually a helpful strategy, whether or not she's intending for it to be strategy, or if she's just emotional is, you know, it's hard to tell, but I do think it's helping her.
I would contrast both of them with Helen. Helen, like, she was working the tears and everything while she was in the house, versus Vanessa and Christie. I feel like it just happens, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't control it. Speaking of not being able to control oneself, let's talk a little bit about Jackson, who we got to see our have-nots in the episode, and then not much about it. A lot has been made online this week about Jackson is a have-not, and that there are petitions and signatures being signed of, you know, people want to see Big Brother make a move against Jackson for allegedly violating the rules of being a have-not. Johnny Mac, as a person who has been in that house, I'm sure you have been a have-not, correct?
Yep.
Okay. Can you talk about, is it a big deal or is it not a big deal for Jackson to have broken these rules?
I don't know. I think the rule is, and I'm not entirely sure because I don't remember. I think it's a penalty nom if you're like deliberately breaking the rules. Now, I know I broke the rule. You just forget, you know, there's peanuts sitting out on the table or something, and you eat them. You're like, oh wait, I just broke the rules. But to the extent from what I've been hearing, like he's smuggling stuff in the shower, and then they're just watching him on camera doing this. Like, I don't understand going in the shower.
Yeah, so the instance I remember, I see Joseph in the chat is talking about this also. I remember Jen Johnson got a penalty vote. She was on the block and she was blatantly eating, and they said, okay, well, now you have a vote against you going into the vote because you are eating when you're not supposed to. But Melissa, if I have this right, I believe it was Big Brother Canada 2, where that there was a candy that was eaten by somebody who was a Rochelle, I believe it was, who was a have-not, and then they punished the whole house.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I think
I'm being honest.
Johnny Mac, that's the way everybody needs to be on slop now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I remember what you're talking about.
Yes, I think that's it. Forget penalty nominations and penalty vote. That this is all right, you guys. Somebody broke the rules. Now everybody. Now you have the inmates turning on each other. Johnny Mac.
Yeah, or they would all bind together and uprise. So, like, people are huge. It's not that big of a deal to be on slop. You get all the nutritional content you need. Like, I felt better when someone else was in charge of my nutrients than me myself.
It's like being an astronaut.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, except none of that cool ice cream and the wrappers.
So it didn't bother you to be a have-not?
I'd say sleeping situation really bothered me, because you can't, at least on our season, the way that the beds were aligned, you couldn't sleep on them. Now, I haven't seen this bedroom besides what they showed on the show. Like, I haven't seen it on the live feeds or anything, so I don't know how uncomfortable those beds are, but I've seen a couple now. Like, season 14 stands out for me. Like, I don't think you could actually sleep on those. And you don't sleep. You lay there for 8 hours. And you can plot in your mind with like a blindfold over, but you can't really sleep.
Yeah.
I feel
And
like
that weighs on you.
I feel like here's the thing is I think that if they're going to have rules, they need to enforce them. And I think that, and I do agree that maybe it's better to just punish the whole house and be like, okay, everybody is on slop or whatever it is because Jackson did this. And then, that gets people mad at you.
Right.
If you're the one putting everyone on slop and being like, yeah, who cares? It's like, well, we all care because we aren't supposed to be on slop. So I could see that being a good thing because honestly, I don't think that the penalty nom versus penalty vote I don't think those are really comparable because there's a situation where somebody who's not on the block gets a penalty nom. They get on the block and all of a sudden everyone's like, wait, we've been wanting to get this guy out a long time ago. Let's just vote him out now. He's already on the block. And it just it messes with the whole game. Versus just a vote. And it's like, okay, you're already on the block. So like, if you eat, okay, whatever, you get an extra vote. Like, I think that there is a discrepancy there between those two punishments. But if you punish the whole house,
yes,
I feel like that is a better punishment because, honestly, I do think it matters that Jackson is eating and he's eating so blatantly and violating the rules and saying, well, what are they going to do about it?
Mm-hmm.
And Big Brother is doing nothing about it. They're just like, you're right. We can't really do anything about it. Like, have fun. Oh, have fun with your chips in the shower. Like, they're not doing anything. And if they're going to have rules, they need to enforce them because they've enforced them in the past. It's not like this is the first time this has happened. I believe Audrey got a penalty vote when she ate. And so I just think that they need to enforce these rules. I'm not sitting here saying that like in a way that's like, well, let's just get Jackson out. Like, let's do this. Like, now's our chance. But I do think that if they're going to have rules, they need to enforce them equally across the board.
Yeah, especially in a house such as this where production has to be hoping for the whole house to eventually, fracture and crack at some point. Put the whole house on slop, get everybody mad at Jackson. I feel like that's the best way to handle this. But we'll see if this comes up again later on this season. Let's talk about that. It was a historic night, Johnny Mac, where we got to see for the very first time the chaos power was used by Jack to reshuffle the veto draw.
That was so
Will you tell us, like you will one day tell your grandchildren, what were you doing when the chaos power was first used?
I was sitting on my chair and I saw that Sam was picked for veto, and then I saw the chaos power used, and then Sam was picked for veto still.
That was so stupid. It was such a bad power. It was like embarrassing for Jack to have to use it. Like, I'm going to use my chaos power, and nothing happened.
Yeah, he thought he was such a badass. He's like, hold up, like all right,
hold up,
do my veto draw again. And then
when Cliff goes to pick again and he's like, I'm gonna choose, and he's like again. He interjects in like, just so you know, this is the second time you're picking.
Yeah.
Like, who cares?
Oh, burn.
You got him.
Yeah.
You got him.
Very powerful chaos power. Jack also cited Aquaman. He hasn't been talking a lot about Aquaman since early in the season, but he talked about Aquaman's powers tonight.
Yeah, we all hate
waves
Aquaman
by putting me and Mickey up. Little does he know Aquaman's going to make a massive tsunami and win this power of veto, and he's going to regret ever putting me on the block.
Does Aquaman make tsunamis?
If you were cast to be a Aquaman knockoff, I want Aquaman knockoff all the time. None of this hair bun stuff. None about talking about feelings. I just want Aquaman all summer long.
Mm-hmm.
And that's your job.
Yeah.
And that should be clear.
Especially there was a water competition tonight that he wasn't that great at.
He was terrible.
He was terrible.
He was so bad at it, and he gets in the water and he's like, I felt really good about that one. It was like, did you though? Because you forgot that your foot was off the button for a really long time.
Yeah. So I don't know. Did they could they see the timer? Because I think that in like the real time, it might have felt like they were going fast, but they couldn't really tell when they were getting like 60x.
Yeah. I doubt they could see the timer, but he recognized that he was an idiot and removed his foot off the thing and forgot. I mean, to be fair, I probably would have done the same thing because when you're like multitasking and doing a bunch of things, you probably forget that there are 3 buttons, but still, like, he knew that happened. If I knew that happened and I forgot a button for an entire like 20 seconds, I would feel like I didn't do a good job.
Johnny Mac, was this a good competition tonight?
I liked it. It was like a new twist on a lot of mechanics that they usually have, which I thought was pretty cool. Like the what was it, the Ready Set Whoa one with holding those buttons down, and then actually hitting the button itself is used in like so many competitions. Yeah, I loved it actually.
Yeah,
that was a really cool idea.
Melissa, I was getting a little bit bored with this one.
I was a little bored, but only because they were showing everyone. I feel like they were showing the entire time each person did it, which was kind of like, okay, like let's move on here. If the person's really bad, I don't want to just sit there watching them, slowly like put their mouth on their shirt and stuff like that. But I did like the idea of it, and I thought that it was pretty clever. And it was something that really you didn't know who was going to do well at it. Like I really didn't know. I figured like Sis was going to do really well, and she didn't. So
no, she had a hard time keeping her pants on.
That was weird. She's like, it got stuck on my butt.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Then you have Kat being like, "Oh, I'm so good at taking my clothes off."
Oh my God.
We might know. We might know by now.
Yeah. And then Sam, Johnny Mac. Well, what's wrong with Sam? Why did he not understand how this competition worked?
Because he drives trucks.
He
doesn't drive
not watercraft. Yeah.
That was weird how he did it. He just was like, okay, I'm just gonna like take off my clothes and not touch the buttons, and there we go.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
What was the problem?
We got to see a little bit of Sam during the competition.
I 110% blame Jack and Mickey for flipping that vote and leaving our alliance out of this powerful decision. I need to keep these noms the same. Let's go! Send it!
I don't even know what he said.
Oh my God.
Send it though. He's a truck driver. He brings it.
Yeah. Let's go send it. Is that his catchphrase?
That's
no,
just a catchphrase.
Sam, I give you this object. I send it. You better bring it.
All I know is that it like it was very shrill. It was a lot of yelling. Like literally, I tweeted this. Like, I mean, has he ever had a DR where he hasn't yelled? I feel like it's like every single time we see him, it's just constantly yelling. I don't understand it.
But
like, and it just the pitch goes higher and higher. He's like, I'm gonna do well at this competition because I'm gonna do it. Send it. It's like, oh my God.
Well, Melissa, but is send it his catchphrase?
Send it is just a catchphrase that people use. It's from like a video online.
A lot of people say send it. Johnny Mac, did you know this?
I've heard it before.
I didn't know about send it.
I don't know where it originated.
Rob, you're so not.
Yeah, I didn't. I mean, this is a surprise. No, I didn't know.
These kids in there mean.
Well, you don't have to do it in like a very high pitched voice. Like it's not like a send it,
like, Melissa. Yeah. That blah 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 in the chat says send it is the new let's go.
Oh no.
It's the thing.
Oh man. Well, it takes a second episode to confirm it.
Okay. All right. We gotta see. We gotta see if then we have that as the new catchphrase that we know. One of the things that Sam will be saying on Cameo. That Eric and I were talking about this on the Summer of Stein this week of what is his closing tagline going to be on Cameo, and I thought he would end all his videos with "Keep on trucking." No, but send it.
Every time if you keep that, you have to every time you play it, like pitch it a little higher until eventually it's just off the spectrum, and only your dog is going to
hear. That'll be good. Okay, so I want to talk about the vote. I want to take some questions for Johnny Mac. Johnny Mac, any other thoughts on the season as a whole? Big Brother 21.
Yeah, I hate all of them.
Yeah.
There's so many shout outs. It's ridiculous.
That's what you hate?
Yeah, I hate all of them just for that reason
just
alone.
The shout outs.
There's 3 rules on live show night, all right? No singing, no swearing, no shout outs. And it's like every time you're told no shout outs because it sucks to watch. I don't care who your mom is, and I would love it if they did, like, when someone swears, I believe, is when you hear the audio cut out, when things get, like, really heated there. So they'll just, like, cut the audio so we're not swearing. why can't we just do that for the shout outs? And then just have Julia like turn to the camera and be like, we don't care. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
That would make it will. I'm wondering if maybe that's not a rule anymore. Maybe they're just like, yeah, shout out everybody because everyone's
the same as the have not rule, where it's like an unofficial rule where they don't enforce it.
Yeah, I guess.
Apparently, none of their rules matter anymore.
You know what? I like David because Julie never gave David a chance to talk, so he never got a shout out. From what I believe, from what I remember, maybe he did, but if you did, David, you got that one by me.
Yeah. Johnny Mac, could they do something with it? If you do a shout out, we're gonna dub in something that you shout out to my favorite band in the world, Nickelback.
Yeah,
dub that
do
in.
Something mildly detrimental to your character while you're shouting it out. So then the longer annoying ones, they're gonna burn.
Yeah. Maybe we need to come up with creative and unusual punishments, I think, to be able to get people back on the straight and narrow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, it would be amazing. Other than that, all this stuff that's going on in the house, like they're not the greatest people to hang around with, I'm sure. But I think it's an exciting season. You have all this stuff that's ready to boil over, and you just can't wait to see these people crash and burn. And I love it.
Yeah.
So
you and I were texting yesterday about the podcast, and I thought you had a really astute way to summarize what the season is potentially on it's way to becoming.
Let me take a look here because I was drilling molars and such. What was that?
It's not going to be worth the build-up.
Were you drilling molars while you were texting?
Yeah. You have two hands.
Casual.
Yeah. You have two hands and an assistant.
Multitask.
Text and drill at the same time.
No, when you have your feet up back in the office while all the other happenings are going on there.
Mm-hmm.
Which one was it, Rob? There were a couple.
Yeah. You talked about it not so much being a foregone conclusion.
Oh, okay. The steamrolling.
Yeah.
He goes back to his day. Got to get it right. Got to get the quote right,
Good, because I wasn't going to say anything about that other.
You said that what Cliff's HOH has done is that instead of a full-on steamroll, it'll be more of an ambiguous steamroll now.
Yes, ambiguous steamroll. Yes.
Yes. Listen, and we much prefer watching the ambiguous steamroll as opposed to the full-on steamroll.
Yeah. If I have to pick a steamroll, then yeah.
Yeah, like it's probably going to be a steamroll.
It's likely a steamroll, but there's still a glimmer of hope.
There's still a glimmer of hope. Okay, let's take some questions for Johnny Mac, and then let's talk about some of these vote possibilities that we have to pin some hopes on. Okay. Let's take one from M Sauce. So is Cliff's HOH better or worse than Howie's in Big Brother 6? Melissa, what did Howie end up doing? Did you get it? He voted out James?
Yeah, I think that was the one where they convinced him to target James, which was like stupid.
Not good.
Like I honestly, I think this situation is. I think the situation's better, but only because it's not clear two sides of the house where it's like two sides are working against each other and then you've just got like this one middle person. It's not like that. And here it's like there's one big alliance and then a bunch of like outsider people who can't get it together, and like some of the outsiders don't want to work with them and some of the outsiders do. It's like there's not a solid alliance on Cliff's side. So I can see whereas with Howie, it was like obvious that you need to target this person because you have your whole alliance backing you up. Like, what is the point of targeting this middle person who could possibly be on your side? Whereas you've got Cliff who sees this crack, sees this opening that he can maybe slip in because he doesn't really have a solid alliance on his side. So I mean,
Yeah.
I think Cliff's decision is better.
Johnny Mac, do you feel like did Cliff make the scared move this week? Because I really tried all week long to give Cliff the benefit of the doubt, but I just saw him in the diary room tonight, and I felt like that he seemed like that he was just looking for any way to be safe again.
Yeah, he did, and you need to have some of that element in your decision, but I feel like this wasn't the way to go about it. Like, now that diamond power of veto, you've given it the chance to sprout arms, legs, and a head, and it's its own player in the game now, whereas if you made her use it, like, it would just be gone. Now they understand, oh, I can use this every week until I don't have it anymore. So now it's lingering around, whereas maybe they wouldn't have seen that if you had flushed it out. Or even if you're going to let them hang on to it there, at least try to get something for yourself, anything. Just get someone out that's going to go home that's going to stay over you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And even if it's just someone out, he didn't take enough of a bite for his HOH, I think.
Right. It's just when you project it forward then another week where now, okay, who's going to be the next HOH and what are they going to do on their HOH reign? It's hard to see where this is getting rosier for Cliff.
Yeah. It's great that Christie's like promising you the moon, like, oh, I'll use it to help you out. But like she's saying that now to simplify things, if it comes down to you and her on the block, she's not going to use it to benefit you in any way.
She told Cliff that Cliff, I'll use my power on you next. I promise you in the next 2 weeks I'll use my power on you. And then in the diary room, she's like, I get to keep my power and use it on. I mean, I don't know. She's not Sam, but she's like, I get to save my power and use it on me. And it's like, no, you just told Cliff you were gonna use it on him.
Yeah. After seeing Christie's diary room session at the end, I feel less good about Cliff's decision.
Yeah.
However,
she seemed real happy.
Yeah, she seemed like she pulled one over on him. Whereas before I thought that it was like, okay, this is our deal that we're doing together. And maybe Christie didn't fully understand that she was like totally pulling one over on him. So I was like kind of thinking that maybe Cliff got a better deal than I thought. And then Christie does that DR and I'm like, oh God, this doesn't look so great. I mean, she did add on, like, granted, she did add in the end, like, and now I have a new like person to work with in Cliff, like, and whatever.
Yeah, that was like, the fourth most important thing.
Yeah, it was like tacked on at the end after she had been like, ha ha. So I it's also possible that, that was kind of coaxed out of her. Like in the DR, it was kind of like, well, aren't you happy that, you got to keep your power? Like, can you do it a little more enthusiastically or something? I don't know. But it didn't sit well with me when I saw that.
Okay.
I think part of being good at lying is believing what you're saying in the moment. And she always believes what she says in the moment.
Yes.
Because it's that emotional thing. Like, she gets caught up in the moment and she believes everything she's saying. So she could just say anything.
All right, this is a question. The Melissa Bot says, can Johnny Mac and Melissa do a Sam impression? Johnny Mac, I know a lot of people feel like that you might be able to do one pretty naturally, that you guys are both from Pennsylvania natives, correct?
Yeah, we don't all sound like that.
Yes.
There's people that are like, those two are just nuts.
Yeah.
They found the two crazy people and then they put them on TV.
Could you do it?
Yeah, it's like a mix of like the Aflac duck, Gilbert Gottfried, and then like a little bit of what you're doing there, Rob. What's a good line? Send it.
Yeah. Well, send it is him yelling. Let me see. Here's some Sam for you.
This is some crazy information. This changes everything, because now why would I send Kemi home when I could keep her to help me? Because why am I doing what an alliance wants? An alliance that I'm not even part of!
Everyone, it just goes higher and higher and ends in it's a cascade.
He also sounds like, when he's talking lower, he sounds like Jeff Weldon to me.
Oh.
Like a little bit of Jeff Weldon.
Great Jeff Weldon.
What was the every time alliance, I do what it wants or something?
Like, what's this new thing about being in an alliance? And then they vote you out and they don't even tell you.
What's this new thing about being in an alliance and they vote you out without even telling you?
Yeah, that's good.
Oh my God.
I was asking you if that was the line. I didn't know if that.
Yeah,
That was just me talking.
Yeah, that was good.
That was just my voice.
That was good. I bet Melissa
Those are
used to
good.
do impressions.
See, I have a very it's a small repertoire, but it's not quite. It doesn't quite involve yelling men.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's more of like girls.
Okay.
Is more my
I
forte.
think you used to do it, Josh Martinez. That was one of the impressions you used to do.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
think I did. Used to do it.
J-
I don't remember how that would go now.
Johnny Mac, could you talk about the cucumber gate from earlier this week? Do you want to weigh in on that? As somebody who was really focused in on the teeth, could you talk about that? Did that raise any alarm bells for you? Jack and Jackson
Was that
sharing the cucumber.
An episode? Because I heard you guys talking about it. And I missed the beginning of one of the episodes.
Mhm.
What was
It was last episode, but it was like midway through or something, but it was very brief but weird, where they shared a cucumber after going to the bathroom and bringing the cucumber with Jackson into the bathroom. Like a weird, gross thing. We really shouldn't even be talking about it. It's very strange. I also, like, why did they even show that though? Like, it doesn't
They
add
needed
to
something for
anything.
Jessica.
That's true. She really does nothing, so they really need something for her.
Well, yeah. There's not a whole lot you can do with the cucumber in the toilet stall.
Okay.
There's not a whole lot there. Maybe you could I don't know, put it in your ear.
Okay. All right, let's get out of this. All right. Daddy Taran says, as a diary room yeller himself, how does Johnny Mac rate Sam's diary rooms? Is he good in the diary room? Is he too loud? Is he nonsensical?
I don't think there's such a thing as too loud. To me, I know it irritates some people, but I can't get excited without being loud.
Mm-hmm.
So, sorry.
Yeah.
And I think you should be excited in your diary rooms. It ticks me off when, there be people on the season like, nah, I don't want to go to the diary room right now. I'm like, it's your job.
Yeah.
It's the one thing you have to do, basically.
That's what you're getting paid for. Right
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So be excited in the diary room, So for me, the loudness is just a side effect of that. As far as the content.
Yeah. Yeah, can I build on that for a second? Getting to do confessionals is awesome. That anybody,
Yeah, I would love to do that.
it's the greatest. I wish I got to do like confessionals about okay, Rob, tell us about what's going on. What are your kids up to today? I'm like, if
you wouldn't even believe it.
My kids today were so bad that I told them that I'm taking your college tuition and I'm gonna send it to Vegas. Not real Vegas for sure. Yeah.
Those. Yeah, you'd
The
be great at
content. I don't know how much of it it all seems like revolved around the competition. I don't know how much of it's just like off the cuff,
Yeah.
I have a question
Very little.
for Johnny Mac.
Yeah.
I have a question. So how did you create your diary room persona? Was it like you went to the diary room already like, this is how I'm going to be in the diary room, like get used to it, producers or whatever? Or were you just like, it built because they were like, okay, be more enthusiastic or anything like that? Or was it just like, how did that come about?
I was never once told be more enthusiastic. There was one night we were shooting at like 3 a.m. and they're like, rub water because your eyes are black down here. You're like so tired. But I think just through like the audition process over the years and being a dentist, talking to people with like movement and everything, talking about treatment plans and stuff like that, it just became a part of me.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like, it's not anything I would think about. It's just like, I'm hyped right now and let's do it.
So like, did you know at the time did you feel like super good about your diary room? Like, did you know that you were going to be like known for your diary room sessions, that people were going to like love it? Or was it just kind of like, I'm just talking and this is just me. Like that one's iconic.
I didn't know going into it, because you could get voted out first week, but I knew that I'd be Like, I know people would always complain. Dan shouts in the diary room. I know people are gonna complain about that, but they just got they
They're
gotta
just gonna
Get
they
used
deal.
to
have to
it.
deal with it. I know.
Yeah.
So, I think I started catching on as I think a great thing that happened in my season was I kept getting nominated,
Mhm.
and then I knew like season 2, like Dr. Will got nominated all the time. He got tons of diary rooms. So then I started noticing I get a lot of diary rooms. So you can kind of start feeling it like as you're getting more and more diary room time and you're in there forever that like you're delivering quality stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Okay, well, I just wanted to know.
Let's take a question from the great Claire Hendrickson, who says, is quoting Jackson from tonight, who said, it takes strategy and finesse in order to get everything undressed while keeping the buttons pressed. Are they trying to sell us on Jackson as a slam poet, Johnny Mac?
You mean like he's a poet and he doesn't even
Oh, he does a lot of
understand-
slamming from what I understand. Poetry, not so much.
Oh,
Button
boy.
masher.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
All right. This is from Alex's Lukewarm Takes. Wants to say, how could Cliff pass on the opportunity to flush Christie's power?
Well, for an in-depth analysis on this, you can absolutely watch the roundtable. We talked about this for like a solid hour. But we all said that he should have found some way to get her to flush the power. However, the discussion kind of turned to like, at least he gets something out of this.
Mhm.
So if he ends up just saying, okay, well, use your power. Okay, well, then she uses the power, but that doesn't really do anything for him. Instead, Bella's still on the block. And yeah, Christie doesn't have a power, but the power is only useful in very specific scenarios moving forward. So like, it's not that powerful if you really think about it.
Mhm.
But also in not having Christie use the power and in creating this deal with her, he does get something out of it, potentially. That's the thing is, are they going to follow through with this deal, or is this just, something that they're just going to forget about and no one's going to follow through and Cliff's
Yeah.
going to be on the block? Who knows? But he's putting his trust in them. And it does sound to me like they're going to follow through with this deal. So it could turn out okay for Cliff in the end. However, not so good for his side of the house.
Yeah, Johnny, I hear that, but I just think about the idea of appeasement as a strategy, and it's hard for me to think of a time that in any aspect of life where that is the thing that works, where it's like, hey, why don't I just give the bully my lunch money today? That'll keep the bully from coming after me because the bully will be happy I gave my lunch money today, and the bully's going to come back for the lunch money tomorrow. So I don't know. Is this long term? As somebody who was not often in the power, do you think that this could potentially be the way to handle being in a bad spot like Cliff is?
Yeah, are you saying he should have gave them a dude now? Just done whatever he wanted.
No!
Well, I believe that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that you still did end up going on the block, right? They asked you if you wanted to go on the block, and then did you?
No, they asked me to not use the veto to take myself off.
Oh,
that I
okay.
won.
Yeah.
So it was a similar situation. I hold the power. They're like, hey, do what we want, though.
Right.
So I guess I guess in my own situation, maybe I would have said no there. But I think you do have to weigh out. This alliance is going to crumble eventually. I don't know how well he understands the alliance, but hopefully when 8 of them are in a room and they say, hey, don't come in here because we're in an alliance and we're having alliance time right now,
Mhm.
you would figure that out. And you have to weigh out how many people they're going to go after, and then how many of those people would they rather out besides myself, and then
Mhm.
count that number up, see how many weeks they're offering you here, and then see if it matches up, like from your own impressions. Like if I think they would really want these 4 out before me, they're offering 2 weeks to me. I'm like, that sounds reasonable because they probably weren't going to come after me anyway. But if they were offering me like a bajillion million weeks, I'd find that kind of fishy and wonder if they're starting to come after me because it sounds too good to be true. So it's good that he did kind of build this out a little bit. In this situation, would this work every time? Absolutely not. And I think he should have done someone else besides Bella and just met them halfway, compromising.
Yeah,
he's in a relationship. He understands that.
Yeah. All right.
Well, to be fair, I do wish that he had just stuck to his guns and not agreed to make this deal with Christie, whatever. Like, I just think that I wish he had, or I guess like, make the deal and then go back on it. I don't know. I feel like at this point, Cliff had the opportunity to be remembered for a long time in Big Brother by making this move and changing the course of the season. I think that, at the beginning of the week, I mean, we were all talking like Cliff, the legend. Oh my God, look at this guy. He wins Camp Comeback. He wins HOH. He puts up the 2 jacks on the block. Like, go Cliff. And even if he went out next week, I have a feeling like the fact that he changed the trajectory of the game by potentially sending home someone from the 6 would have been huge for him. I think that, at least in my opinion, I'd prefer to go out like that than to go out meekly just a couple weeks later. Like, to go out a couple weeks later after just kind of like capitulating to the 6 and just doing whatever they say and then just kind of being like a number for them and then like just out the door. And not to say that that's what Cliff's going to do and that's what's going to happen to him, but just saying, like, if I had the opportunity to make a big game-changing move and be remembered for something, like, I would absolutely.
At least we don't know how that's going to play out. Like, this feels like that we kind of know how this is going to play out. I feel like that it's like if you're playing pool and then it's like all the balls bunched together, you don't really have a shot. It's like, well, why don't I just like break everything up? Yeah, I might just sink the 8 ball right here, but wouldn't this be a lot more fun?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I tell you, when you're in the house there, everything you're able to see it from like your own perspective. And every time an event happens, like a competition or a ceremony, every time something new is set in stone, the map that you had in your head to get to the end, it completely changes. Like, it's amazing. You'll come up with a new one every 3 days saying like, all right, I got this. And then something happens and you're like, all right, it's completely different. Wheels start turning. You're not sleeping at night. You're just thinking all night and you come up with this new map to the end. And it just changes constantly.
Johnny Mac, give me the percentage chance that in 1 week's time, Cliff is sitting on the block, pawn or not.
Yeah, it's probably it's up there.
It's probably what, 45%?
I'd say at least 30%.
Yeah, right, Melissa. Like, somebody from the other side wins, but it's like, hey, Cliff, we're gonna need you to go on the block this week.
Yep. They're gonna say, we would put you as one, but we promise you are 100% safe. Like, no, you can trust us. You're 100% safe. We just need you on the block.
Well,
oh no,
Christie,
something happened and now Cliff's gone home.
For old boss hog, you think you could use that diamond power of veto on your boy Cliff? Oh, Cliff, I'd love to, but I can't. I just can't. The guys that get so mad at me, I can't do it. Well,
I don't think it's really gonna help you if I use it.
Yeah.
So.
All right, let's go to Daddy Taran again. I said the real Taran was in the chat. Said he had a question he wanted to get into the show. As a musician himself,
maybe this is the real
what
Taran.
did Johnny Mac think of the new outro music? Is this one of Taran's burner accounts on Twitter? Johnny Mac, what'd you think of the new outro music?
It's all right. It's not iconic, I mean, it's well done.
Send
it's
it.
Just...
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Send it far away.
All right, David Lyons, if you're Nick, why don't you lie to Cliff and say you overheard the 6 saying they were going to turn on Cliff the next week?
I mean,
That's a good idea.
yeah, I mean, why not? I feel like, there are a lot of things. I do feel like, though, that Cliff or Nick right now, it's kind of been caught up in a bunch of, I mean, we can get into this later, I guess, but basically Nick's been kind of caught in a bunch of schemes and, it's not great for Nick right now.
Yeah. So
I don't know necessarily if that's a situation that would have helped because I don't know if people trust Nick very much right now.
Yeah.
So I don't know if coming from Nick
or Nick could have not put Cliff and Nicole on the block last week. Also,
yeah,
that could have been
that might have been helpful.
When the group of 6 people were openly plotting against Nick and Bella, Nick could have not wasted his HOH on getting Cliff or Nicole out of the house. That would have been good also. Okay, let's take.
I think.
Yes.
Go back to poker though. It's good to just, if you're new to it, don't bluff because you're gonna get caught. You know.
Is that what happened to Cliff in strip poker?
Yeah, yeah. He found that out the hard way.
Yeah. All right. Let's take one more question and then let's talk about the live feeds. Taylor says, "Hey Johnny, what BB21 house guest do you think has the nicest teeth or smile?"
Ooh.
There's
a lot of good ones. I think for some reason David's was pretty good.
Yeah, David, good smile, David.
Yeah, I think I would go with David.
Yeah. Okay, we didn't get a chance to see him smile much in this season of Big Brother 21, but if he,
he didn't have so many happy moments.
Yeah, a little bit we saw.
What a waste.
Okay. All right. So we're going to jump into talking about the live feeds. Really, you could stay. I mean, the eviction is tomorrow night. Come on.
I will not tell you anything that you probably don't already
all right. But that being said, okay, let's get into some of the spoilers. If you're not going to be here for the spoilers, then come back tomorrow night. Caitlin Herman will be here in the studio with myself and Taran after the eviction. We'll talk about what we are expecting to have as a endurance competition. Johnny Mac, the wall comp.
I love the wall comp.
Yes, is that confirmed, Melissa? I know it's endurance. Is the wall confirmed?
I actually don't know if the wall is confirmed. I've heard a lot of speculation about it, but I haven't heard actual confirmation. Maybe that's happened since I was.
All right. Well, presumably the wall comp, we'll see. So we will not have an HOH during the episode, but maybe we will have one during the podcast by the end. We'll be able to react to that on Thursday night. All right. Let's do some spoilers.
The Office of Civil Defense has issued the following message. This is
a spoiler.
Warning.
A spoiler.
Warning means that an actual
spoiler
against this country has been detected, and that protective action should be taken.
Sorry.
Rob, are you undressing?
I was trying to see if I could take my shirt off and then also work the buzzer, but it wasn't working.
Oh man, this podcast
couldn't do it.
Took another direction.
Yeah,
almost.
I was not taking
losing a strip poker game to Cliff Hogg. Okay, all right, Melissa. So the vote is tantalizingly close this week, but it seems like that we're not ever close enough.
Yeah, it basically is out of reach. I'm almost positive that we will see what we are already thinking, and that Bella will likely be going home this week. You know what? I will give Bella credit. There has been definite campaigning and good attempts. People who are saying like, well, why is she going to talk to Kat? Why is she going to talk to like Jackson and Holly? Is she stupid? You know what? You'd be complaining if she didn't do anything. Mm-hmm. So be grateful that she's at least trying. Grateful. And to be honest, like her campaigning is actually pretty decent. I mean, she has good points. She's making logical sense, but these people aren't going to listen. Mm-hmm. And that's basically the way it is. I don't predict that there's going to be a flip, but you never know. With Christie in charge, I mean, anything could happen, which I guess is the fun thing. But basically, since we had the roundtable, what happened was a flop of a house meeting where basically Sam called a house meeting because he had been accused of creating the plan with Nick to have Cliff lie to Christie and not backdoor Bella and instead backdoor someone else. So Sam had heard his name was involved in that, and he's like, I'm going to clear the air. Let's call a house meeting. They call a house meeting. Sam explains it wasn't him. Nick backs him up because he's like, it was my plan alone. Basically, admitting to everyone that like this was all him and Sam had nothing to do with it. Trying to help him. Yeah, basically.
I swear.
Sam was trying to clear his name, and then it turned into like this, like it wasn't the drama-filled house meeting that everyone was kind of hoping for, where people were going to call people out. Instead, it turned into like some sort of weird, like pity party emotional thing where it was like Nick is crying, and then I guess like Nick is like, you know what, it doesn't matter anymore because I'm not going to win, and Jackson's like, well, not with that attitude, buddy. And it's like, oh my God, like it is so annoying when people are, it's like, no, you guys are all working against him. Don't sit there and say like, well, if you just had a better attitude, you'd win.
Right.
Like it is not what's going on here. So anyway, flop of the house meeting where everyone's like, we're family, we all love each other, and it's very annoying. Then you know, we got a little bit of campaigning, nothing really stuck. And then today was entirely spent on doing an America's Next Top Model like parody show, which to be honest, I did think the costumes were very clever. And, you know, people are complaining like, well, this is stupid. What a stupid idea. Well, you know what? It's better than some of those stupid games that they play, like Pop Ball or whatever. So I just feel like this is at least vaguely entertaining, and, you know, be grateful that they're doing something. Obviously, we wish it was game related, but if we can't have game related play, then we might as well.
What do people want? Everyone's complaining when all they do is have sex. Everyone's complaining all they do is
like,
nothing.
They can't do anything except for games. Like,
people are never happy with these people.
Do a fun thing.
All they do is stuff that you don't do in your regular life.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, come on.
We should have them file tax returns.
Yeah.
I feel like I'd much prefer to see everybody dressed up in like a fashion show outfit and playing silly characters and doing a whole competition than to see people having sex on the live feeds. Like, sorry, that does not entertain me. So this is a lot better.
Okay.
And if we're not going to get game talk, like, I mean, come on.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's get something.
All right. So, Johnny Mac, do you see a road here for Bella?
No, it's looking pretty dark at this point. I mean,
yeah.
Those kind of people that like run around like they're what would you say? Loose lips, like just about everything, they go really quickly. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
Maybe at the end that's good to be being like, yo, I had this conversation with this person. Because at that point, it doesn't really matter. You hate who you hate, and you're going to try to beat who you're going to try to beat. But at the beginning part, just keep everything to yourself. Knowledge is power.
Melissa, I want to ask you about Bella, where I feel like that she was of the least popular house guests only about a week or two ago, where she was right up there, if not public enemy number one, probably top three. I feel like that she's potentially leaving the house with a lot of indifference. Has the fan base in general warmed at all towards Bella as being somebody who's not in power? Is she a sympathetic figure at all at this point?
It's kind of the underdog effect taking place. I think if she was still there a little longer and teamed up with Cliff and Nicole, I think we'd see a very different response to her coming out. You know, you see a lot of people being like, no, save Bella. And then the next comment down is like, yeah, but remember, we still hate her. It's like, so I feel like people are kind of, they're a little bit, it's kind of leaving their mind a little. You know, you still have a lot of fans online being like, you know, no, she sucks. Remember, she sucks. But people still want to keep her around.
Yeah, being up against Jack on the block really turned out to be the best case scenario for her.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like she doesn't have any fans really while she's leaving the house, but I do think that people have softened on her a little bit, and I think it's a situation where Jack is more hated than Bella. So I think that if you have to choose between keeping Jack or keeping Bella, people want to keep Bella. It's like the lesser of two evils, essentially.
And
it's like hellfire or purgatory.
Yeah, which one do you want?
What do you want?
So presumably Bella, but whoever comes out of the house, I will have an exit interview on Friday morning. So the Big Brother 21 exit interviews here in the pre-jury will continue rolling along. Look for that early in the day on Friday. I'm supposed to talk to her.
Be sure to let her know that Nicole was telling her the truth and that she should have listened to her, and that was her downfall.
Yeah. So, Johnny Mac, what do you think of the position Nicole is in right now, where it seemed like that during the Jack HOH, she was in a good spot, and then her game kind of got blown up during the Nick HOH. Now, it seems like that she's kind of exposed at this point in time. So, do you think that she could come back from this?
I think she could. I don't think that, well, number one thing she has going for her, she hasn't won any competitions. Really the only enemies she's made were Nick and Bella, and I've heard that they're better now. Are they better now?
They did apologize to her, actually. So, I mean, now that they need something from her, they apologize, but whatever. They did apologize, and I do appreciate the fact that they were like, you know, it's crazy how the only person who's here with us now, like, and on our side is the person that we were so actively against last week. And they did apologize. They
That's
hugged,
a true friend.
all that sort of stuff. So, you know what? I'm glad at least they've owned up to that. You know, whatever the catalyst that allows them to own up to it, like, whatever, as long, if it has to be Bella going home, like, okay, but at least they made up with her, I guess. So,
okay.
Yeah. So I'd say at this stage in the game, she has no enemies. Her only thing that's working against her is she's not in the group, but the group is crumbling. So, and I think that Cliff's a bigger target than her. Possibly Kat now winning all these things. She's a bigger target. Sam's a bigger target. There's just no reason to get rid of Nicole, you know? So I think if she can get through those next couple, assuming that the bigger alliance either wins these HOHs outright or pushes Diamond Power Veto on everyone all the way so it can't be used anymore. She might make it long enough to where it crumbles, and then she's good to go.
Melissa, hypothetically, if Sam won HOH, what would he do?
I think he would
go after Cliff and
definitely
Nicole?
go against. I don't think so. No, I think he would go against the 6.
Okay.
I mean, you never know with these people, but I do have hope that Sam would know what to do at this point.
I don't know.
He's gonna send it.
We've been burned by him before.
A lot.
Yeah. Okay. Let's take some more questions. Schmerick Schmine in the Twitter says, fair to say Bella's game was similar to Audrey's. Is that a fair comparison or way off, Johnny Mac?
Yeah, well, different intentions maybe. Like both of them running around starting things that they didn't need to start, you know? But I think Audrey was more, I'm trying to play this game like hard from the beginning, whereas Bella, it just sounds like she just feels like getting dirty laundry out.
Yeah, she's
conversation,
incapable of keeping anything
like,
to
Audrey
herself.
Straight up made stuff up,
yeah,
just to mess with us, So I remember, I think it was before feeds came on. Audrey told us that the studio was haunted because way back in the day, they found like 3 hanging bodies upstairs. Like before it was used for Big Brother. Like the studio itself was haunted from like she just makes stuff up. It was fun.
Like that house was used for other 2-story productions.
Yeah. And I was like, I don't think that could have, but she didn't know I'd seen the show before. I'm like, I definitely haven't heard that one before.
Yeah.
I feel like that would have been out there.
Okay. This is one from the Big Brother Wiki. Says, I've been to Scranton Wilkes Bar area. It's that big. Is there any way that Johnny Mac and Sam, the truck driver, could have ran into each other at some point?
Yeah, I don't know. It's possible. I don't remember him from any like they do a Survivor casting here. I don't remember him from any like events.
Okay.
I feel like I would have remembered.
So how close does Sam live to your area?
This is one thing I like about Sam is he's kind of naive. Like there's a lot of people in the area that never leave the area. So when I even went to like Penn State, it's like 2 hours down the road. I didn't tell people I'm from Jefferson Township, which is like what he's saying, like he's from Mountaintop or whatever. It's basically the equivalent of that. No one knows where that is. So I've been telling people I'm from Scranton for like the last decade or so of my life. And then when he's on the interview and he's saying like, oh, I'm from Mountaintop, I'm like, oh, you don't get it, man. No. So maybe he's just always been out that way and really doesn't associate with Scranton, which is only like 15 minutes.
So
away.
how far away is he from you?
From me, so we got Scranton, Wilkes-Barre. They're like almost connected there. I'm up here on the map and he's down here. So that would probably give you like a 40-minute drive.
40?
Both,
I'll do that. I'll be there by the veto.
I do it every day in my truck.
Yeah, I drive truck. Okay. All right.
But we're both about 15 minutes.
Okay.
So, but
meet me in the middle. Okay. David says, hey, Johnny Mac, can you compare anyone from this cast to anyone on your cast? Jack to Austin? Also, any new music coming out soon? Hail Hydra.
Yeah. Jack to Austin? I mean,
the long hair, maybe.
The long hair, muscly dude with tattoos. I don't think that they're very similar at all.
He doesn't have
Austin's
a hat.
Austin's a very smart dude.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't see that at all with Jack. I think he's when he came in the house, he was I imagine he's very good at talking to people at first. Like he's just like the life of the party, but yeah, I don't see Austin or him at being similar at all.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of any others I could think of.
I think Jack is that kind of person who like is really personable and nice and has this like big, like this facade. And then like, but if you hang out with them too long or you spend too much time with them, you like start to see like, oh, wait a second. Like all that was fake. Like none of this is real. Like, I just feel like he's really good at like, guys, I mean, we were all snowed by him. Like everyone thought he was like this super nice guy. Wow. Look at this guy. He's like Aquaman. Everyone like was talking about how they had these crushes on him. And, you know, now everyone regrets that. And everyone's like, I don't remember saying those things, you know, that Aaron Jeff, but
yeah. You thought he was Austin, but he was Judas.
But he was Judas all along.
One thing I don't like is on our season, Shelly goes after Clay and everyone's like, oh, Puma. Now you've got Holly and Cat Cradle Robin. And everyone's like, oh, it's fine.
Well, how old is Cat?
Huh?
How old is Cat?
Cat's like,
I mean, none of them are old.
27, 28 or
yeah.
Like
yeah, I know Holly's in her 30s. And Jackson is what, 24?
Jackson's like just turned 24.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Clelly, they're still together, Johnny Mac?
Yeah, they're doing well. They're good to go.
This is from Turka Clips.
Just told them about best how the kids are.
Yeah. Do you think that Tommy's crying was real? When Tommy was crying about Jack going on the block, was that real or is that staged?
I don't know. He has the acting background. I mean, from what I saw on the show, I'd say it's real because you didn't see how long that was going on, you know?
Melissa, I was watching the feed that day. Jack was crying too. And he was talking about how that he's ready to go home and go see his dog.
Ugh, everybody was crying. It's just like, that's enough, guys. They're just on the block. They're not dead. Like, come on. I don't know. I just like, especially see, okay. I have sympathy for people when they get put on the block and then they cry, but I don't necessarily have sympathy for people who are crying because someone that they like is on the block when they're not on the block. I don't know. I just feel like it's like, okay, don't try and steal their spotlight. Like let the person on the block cry and you can just like sit there and try and comfort them. Like they shouldn't have to comfort you.
Mm-hmm.
Like you should be comforting them. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
Or maybe like if you're going to go cry, go do it in like under a bed or something. Isolated from
go do it somewhere else. Go do it in the DR.
Yeah. Johnny Mac, who's going to win HOH tomorrow night?
If it's the wall?
Yeah. Who wants it?
I think Nicole's like built for it, but I don't know if she wants it. Maybe she doesn't. I don't know. We haven't seen much of her this week to really get like an opinion, right? I don't know. It's built for
if it's the wall, like
you're benefited if you have a low center of mass, and you're benefited if you have strong forearms.
Yeah, Tommy has the profile for it, but does he want it?
Yeah, I don't know, probably not. He's in the best position. I don't think that's by accident. I think he would know, like, this isn't where I need to start winning yet, you know?
Yeah. Melissa, do you have a pick?
Yeah.
I mean, I think Tommy could win it, but I don't think he wants to necessarily. I could see Sis winning it. Would just be like, just like the darkest.
And what would she do?
She'd just be annoying. Like she would just be awful. Like we'd have to see a bunch of DRs.
Yeah,
with
but
her
literally, like, what would she do with her HOH?
She'd just put up like Cliff and Nicole or something.
Cliff and Nicole.
Like she put up just something stupid, like something that anything we don't want. Like imagine what you don't want happening, and that is what will happen if Sis wins HOH. So let's just like not. I don't even want to put that out in the universe. Like let's just like no.
Yeah.
No.
So it would be really bad if Jack won, but it would be even worse if his sidekick won, right?
Yeah.
I just feel like I don't even.
Yeah.
Now you guys are making me imagine all these like possibilities that are just like I don't want to happen. Like let's just hope. Let's like hope that someone who's not in the main alliance gets it, and we have a great week. That's what I'm hoping for.
Besides Nicole, who would that person be?
I would like to see Nick win.
Okay.
Because I do have faith that Nick would make a good move. I think that he has recognized that he's like completely on the bottom. And I think that with Bella gone and everything, I think he would, have that fire.
He owes us one after that HOH last week.
Seriously, he owes us. This is for us.
He got us in this mess. So Johnny Mac, he's getting off scot-free. His HOH was horrible, and poor Cliff has to take all of the punches from the social media. People.
I think it's a situation where people have faith in Cliff.
Yeah, he got off easy. That Cliff has been taking all the slings and arrows this week, and I feel like that last week nobody was killing Nick for his terrible, stupid HOH.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because that one was just.
I think it's just we just gave up on him.
This is like, there's a lot of debate that could be had on what Cliff should have done.
Yeah,
so it's
that's right.
Naturally.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
More heated.
All right. Mr. Robot Taran says, Melissa applied for Big Brother 17. Johnny Mac, would you have aligned with Melissa? Boy, Mr. Robot Taran, Melissa, knows...
yeah, wow, he knows a lot about me.
Your whole bio. Okay.
Yeah, that was the one season I applied for.
Would you have worked with Melissa?
Yeah, I worked with everyone.
No.
Mostly there.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to work with me though, because all my alliances left pretty early.
Okay.
No, but we could have taken it far.
Yeah. No, I think that would have worked out. I don't know how would it have worked out, because I wouldn't have told you I know anything about the game though.
Yeah,
so
she would be the super fan. She could be the the new Steve.
I don't know if I would share how much I know about the game either.
Mm-hmm.
We'd just be like trading with each other, like we each know the game, but we're both pretending that we don't. Like, who's Rachel? I don't know who that is.
Mm-hmm. Did you hear that 3 people were hanged on the second floor of this house?
Wow.
Oh, you get to hang out with me and Audrey.
It'd be great.
Okay. Mindy wants to know, which player is the Johnny Mac of this season? Does Johnny see himself in any of these players? Is there a Johnny Mac? There's only one Johnny Mac, right?
Yeah, I believe so, according to my birth certificate and social security card.
But yeah. So, but Jackson,
probably
right?
Characteristics.
Yeah.
I see Cliff as like having a stable job. So
yeah, that's good.
Look at the situation a little differently than some of them. I don't think any of them had anything listed. Some of them just like didn't have anything listed, right?
Yeah, Nick is supposed to be a therapist.
And like
Sam
Jack
drives
was
a
like
truck.
a photographer. Yeah, that'll change your outlook on things quite a bit. So I'd say that with Cliff. What else we got there? Obviously the volume with Sam.
Yeah.
He's a hybrid of all the
I'd
different
say
people.
Nerdiness of Nicole.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Total
Veto
package,
competition wins like Sam. I wouldn't have tried to win vetoes that I had nothing to do with though. That was silly.
Well.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Huh?
Can't stop sending. Yeah. What are you gonna do?
You sound just like him. I don't understand. Like, I don't know whether you're playing an audio clip or you're talking.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about what's coming up here on RHAP. Survivor South Africa, the Island of Secrets. Find out what Mike and Shannon had to say with PK from season 6. American Ninja Warrior. Taran Lita will be back for the latest recap of American Ninja Warrior. Bachelorette 15. The men are going to tell all. Finally, Johnny Mac. We'll hear what Tyler C. and everybody had to say. And then Love Island. Exit interviews. That's right. We've got exit interviews from the people that are off of Love Island. Johnny Mac, you watching Love Island?
As much as I think it's awesome, here's what I know about Love Island. There's the hair, there's the girl that's attached to the hair, and then there's a bunch of people that they switch out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Winston.
And now Winston.
I
think he's going to.
So Kirsten McKinnon says the Love Island exit interviews. Eric Stein and I got together for the summer stuff. Find out what Eric Stein thought about Cliff's HOH and how many oofs Eric is awarding for this week of running the house for Cliff on the latest Summer of Stein. Then on Thursday, Taran will be back to set the stage for this week's eviction. 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. I'm in the chat every morning talking to you guys watching Taran on Thursday. If you missed it by any chance, Derek called in on Monday. It was very exciting. On Thursday night, Caitlin Herman will be here in the studio to talk about everything. We've been having so much fun with Caitlin as well on our recaps every week on Thursday night. And for the patrons of Rob Has a Podcast, I just uploaded a behind-the-scenes video of what it was like the first week that Caitlin was here for the eviction episode as our latest RHAP episode. That is one of the many things available to you as a patron of Rob Has a Podcast. I've got the Patron 5 for 5 podcast with the First Lady of Podcasting, who we've gotten my wife, Johnny Mac, to watch the Big Brother for the first time this season. So she's going to weigh in on what she thinks about Big Brother 21. That's going to be later on tonight in the Patron podcast feed. All that and much more in our Patron community. robhasawebsite.com/patron for all that. That's it. robhasawebsite.com/patron. Okay. Johnny Mac.
You can find out if Nicole is a fan of Nicole.
Nicole from Long Island, if she is a fan of her fellow Long Island native, Nicole. Okay. Johnny Mac, what's next? What's next for you? You're going to Florida. You're going to Orlando soon.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna go to the Hearts of Reality thing. So I've been there a couple of times and I've seen like those families like really appreciate what they do for them. So if you're looking for something to do, don't donate to my page. I'm good, but like if there's someone you want to donate to, definitely.
Who's the Big Brother alumni that you only see at Hearts of Reality? That's a great hang for you.
Great hang only at Hearts of Reality.
Yeah, like who's the person that when you go out there, you're really pumped up that you get to hang out with?
I have a few.
Okay, who are the top 3?
I don't get to see Steve Moses often,
okay.
so it's awesome to see him. And then Meg and her boyfriend Mike
Holloway.
Yeah. I love those two. Mike's hilarious. Oh my god.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then everything else is just like, whoever's there. Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't go last year, so I missed anyone who went last year.
All right. Well, check out Johnny Mac down in Celebration, Florida for the Hearts of Reality coming up in a couple of weeks. And, of course, Johnny Mac is on Twitter at RockstarDMD, right?
Yeah, you can unfollow me. I don't post any Big Brother content. You can unfollow me at
you unfollow Johnny Mac. Johnny Mac, I got the new Twitter tonight.
Oh,
the new
so
Twitter.
bad.
So bad.
It's so bad. I can only use Twitter now on my phone.
Yeah.
Because it's that bad.
Hey.
I can't understand it. It makes absolutely no sense.
New Twitter makes Big Brother 21 look like Big Brother 17.
Oh, damn. All right. I don't have the app on my phone anymore, but I looked at it on the computer. I was just like, oh, maybe they just changed it on the computer, but I guess they
did just change it on the computer, and that's why I can still use the app.
Yeah. Johnny Mac, have you thought about getting on Cameo? Are you on Cameo.com?
That's negative. Yeah. I don't have time for that.
No.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you could make messages, and then people will pay you to talk to them.
Yeah, I feel like I have other means that'll make a little more than that.
Yeah. All right. Melissa is on Twitter. Don't unfollow. It's Melissa with 3 A's. 3 A's. Can you believe that, Johnny Mac?
3 A's.
3.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You like AAA batteries?
Amazing. Yeah. All right. Well, this was so much fun, John. I don't want the podcast to end.
I know. All good things must come to an end,
Yeah.
Rob.
Do you watch anything else on TV that we could talk about?
Stranger Things.
Okay, well, I don't
Game
do
of
that
Thrones.
podcast, but we did have a Stranger Things podcast. I know that Josh Wigler and Mike Bloom had a Stranger Things Brant Steele as part of their big Stranger Things feedback show on post-show recaps.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. Nothing that's live though, because by the time I get home, it's like I gotta make food and watch Big Brother or something. We do a Big Brother Part 2 at some point.
Okay, I would like that. What food do you make?
Dude, I got an Instapot. I am a world-class chef now.
Yes.
Instant pots are so nice.
What should I make in an Instant Pot?
Ribs.
I don't know. So
Ribs.
here's how I do. I'm 80% of the week I'm vegan, and then the other 20% I go out and I go crazy.
Mhm.
You know, like out eating chicken wings and stuff like that. I like I got the one that has the app, so the app tells you what to buy, and you check it off in the grocery store,
Whoa.
and then it tells you how to cook it, and then you put it in the pot, and then on the app you hit play, and then it just cooks it for you. So there's a bunch of recipes on there. I usually go for like the lentil stuff, like lentil chili or chana masala. It's like chickpea.
Oh yeah. They're
and
so
tomato
easy.
sauce. Yeah.
You set it and forget it.
Set it and forget
Yeah,
it.
like I literally spend an hour a week just making food, and then the rest of the week just eating it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. See, this is the kind of stuff that you could be posting about
This
on
is the
Twitter.
kind of quality content.
Yes. Yes. All right. Johnny Mac, thank you so much. Thanks so much, Scott St. Pierre behind the scenes. Thanks, Melissa. We'll be back tomorrow night with Caitlin and Taran to recap whatever happens on the eviction and talk about that endurance competition